pragmatists, but there are nuanced differences, aren't there, between such people?
Yes, I would say that Iranian elections are not free or fair, but they have had a record of being competitive at times. This is looking to be one of the competitive elections. There's 6 candidates. As we said, Pezeshkian is the reformist candidate. 4 of them come from the conservative or hardline camp, and one of them, the only cleric in the race, is trying to stake out a more centrist position. Now, among the conservative candidates, there are divisions. Saeed Jalili, the former chief nuclear negotiator, is the very hardline one associated with the most right-wing factions in Iran, and Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, the current parliamentary speaker, is a more traditional conservative who is more pragmatic on many domestic and foreign policy issues.
Okay, well, let's turn to Masoud Pezeshkian. Described as a reformist, what are those reformist credentials?
So Pezeshkian served in the Iranian parliament for 5 terms, including as deputy parliamentary speaker for a term. He was also a minister of health in the reformist administration of Mohammad Khatami in the early 2000s. Now, during his tenure in politics, he has stood out for consistently staking out within the confines of the Iranian political system positions that could be considered more open towards civil rights, women's rights, and ethnic minority rights. And these are issues that he's made the centerpiece of his campaign right now. For example, during the Women Life Freedom Movement of 2022, Pezeshkian had an interview that went viral on state TV where he condemned the killing of Mahsa Amini and the crackdown on women over mandatory hijab. He's continued similar rhetoric during his campaign, emphasizing that he wants to support young people, this Generation Z in Iran, women, and especially ethnic minorities. But how much he's actually going to be able to do as president will be limited. But he is telling people that he's going to enact as much change as will be in his power to do so.
I mean, it may sound cynical, but is it realistic that somebody with such views would be allowed to become president?
No. Yes, it's interesting that the Guardian Council did approve him running. Many people speculate that it's because of the historically low turnout, that they wanted a more competitive election, and ultimately the Supreme Leader wanted to have a reformist to run to elevate turnout. But with that said, if Pezeshkian does win, he does have a realistic path to victory if, turnout is higher. Typically in Iranian elections, when turnout is higher and when the constituency that has historically voted for reformists that has stayed at home for the past several elections, if they go out, it is not unlikely that they can put Pezeshkian over the top, much like how Rouhani won in 2013. But if the turnout is low, it is likely that one of the more conservative candidates will win.
If Mr. Pezeshkian does win, not just him individually, but how much power does a president have in Iran?
So the presidency in Iran is not a powerless position, but it's also not a decisive position where he can enact major change. He's going to have many obstacles in his path, including from the conservative-dominated parliament, many unelected theocratic bodies, the Supreme Leader, the Revolutionary Guards. At the same time, the presidency oversees all the government ministries, including the Foreign Ministry. They head the Supreme National Security Council and appoint its secretary. So they will have a role in managing the economy. And then when it comes to broader policies and fundamental policies of the Islamic Republic, such as the enforcement of the mandatory hijab, such as relations or negotiations with the West, basically Pezeshkian's role will be within the internal negotiations and decision-making that occurs. The hardline forces will ultimately have to engage in some kind of compromise. So he may not be able to bring about transformative change, but as we saw during Rouhani, more incremental change, such as less enforcement of mandatory hijab, or an open space, more of an open space for kind of journalism, and less of a crackdown on the arts and certain social freedoms may happen. But again, there's going to be this kind of opposition from the hardliners within Iran.
That was Sina Tusi, a senior fellow at the Center for International Policy in Washington, D.C. And a reminder that you can listen to NewsHour whenever you like. We've got 2 editions a day. You can find the latest online at bbcworldservice.com. Better still, sign up for our free download. Just search for BBC NewsHour Podcast.
It's 4:19 and you're listening to NewsHour from the BBC here on 90.7 WFAE and WFAE.org. My name is Ben Cole. This afternoon expect hot temperatures with mostly sunny skies and a high near 96. And tonight, a slight chance of showers and storms, otherwise a low in the mid-70s with mostly cloudy skies.
Thousands of Americans are turning 65. Will they retire or not? If they do, what's next?
It's just wrong that old age has become a time of social isolation.
How a center in Los Angeles creates a new kind of community for people leaving their traditional work lives behind. Monday on Morning Edition from NPR News.
Tomorrow morning at 5 here on WFAE.
This is Julian Marshall with NewsHour live from the BBC in London. Russia has vowed to respond after the death of 5 people and the wounding of more than 120 in the Ukrainian missile attack on occupied Crimea. Russian-installed authorities in Crimea said the casualties were caused by missile fragments from American-made long-range attack falling on a beach just north of Sevastopol port. Sevastopol's Moscow-appointed governor, Mikhail Razvozhaev, gave this statement in a video posted to his Telegram channel.
As a result of a terrorist attack by the Kyiv regime on the city of Sevastopol with American-made cluster munitions in the summer, on a holiday, in good weather, when people were relaxing on the beach. Unfortunately, we currently have 124 victims, including 3 dead children, 2 dead adults. Plus, 5 children are currently in intensive care at the 5th City Hospital.
В настоящее время 5 детей находятся в реанимации 5-й городской больницы.
So have the Ukrainians acknowledged the attack? Our security correspondent Gordon Carrera is currently in Kiev.
There's not been any comments so far from Ukraine or the US authorities about this attack. So what we know comes from Russian officials who have said that a number of these ATACMS missiles were fired and that 4 were intercepted by their air defences, but they say 1/5 detonated mid-air and then rained down shrapnel, they say, on a beach at Sevastopol, leading to over 100 wounded, they say, and a number dead. Not likely to have been the intended target, more likely a military target, a base perhaps nearby.
And this is the first time that Ukraine has used these ATACMS missiles on Crimea?
No, what's I think significant is these are an important tool in their armoury as they see it, because they have the ability to go much longer range than some of the other weapon systems, up to 300 kilometres, which from the Ukrainian point of view allows them to hit deeper behind Russian lines, and particularly supply lines, bases, and Crimea has been one of the targets. I think what's significant is the Russians are blaming the US, saying that it was US specialists who programmed the coordinates for these missiles using US satellite data, as well as the weapons themselves having been US supplied, and saying from the Russian Foreign Ministry that they'll be raising this in the international community.
Could I just turn to Kharkiv, a city in northeast Ukraine, which has come under Russian attack for the 2nd day in a row?
Yes, that's right. Another attack from Russian glide bombs on Kharkiv. Yesterday, those glide bombs hit some manufacturing facilities and a residential building, killing a woman who just got off a trolley bus. Today, it looks like an educational building was hit with more casualties. So part of what seems to be a sustained campaign against that city, which is close to where the Russian Russians have been trying to push down in the last month or so militarily. So it looks like part of that wider offensive is to try and put pressure on the city, and more broadly we've seen the Russian aerial attacks targeting civilian infrastructure, particularly in terms of the energy infrastructure across Ukraine as well, which has led to the Ukrainians calling for more air defences.
Haven't the Ukrainians been given permission by the United States to use those US-supplied long-range missiles?
Where is this thing at, Joe?
It's on the Providence roadside.
Oh, okay. Okay, there's Wally World.
Yep.
Mackie D's. Panera.
It's not on this side. Gotta find my street crossing card.
I'll help you, son. If it's in this car, I will find it. Why do you need it for?
Raleigh.
Oh, yeah. Well, look what happened yesterday. We got your club shirt ready.
Yep.
What's the name of the joint?
Curry Junction.
Here is Noodle and Company, Joe Korean Food. Oh, this is where the theater used to be that they...
The what?
This is where the theater used to be that they broke.
Oh.
Hot Work,
What is that?
Noah Nails. Yeah, Diarrhea Central.
Taco Bell.
Yeah, Chopped Creative Salad. Mattress Firm.
Well, you know it's not that.
Verizon. Wild Bird Center.
On this side of the shopping center somewhere.
Okay. Great Clips Cure. So, let's see. Cajun Yard Dog.
We should have gone there last night.
Well, Joe, we were really trying to entertain the
And they
hot
wouldn't
seat
like
and
they wouldn't like Cajun Yard Dog.
Hans Create, Nautical Bowls, Planet Salon, Manhattan Bagel, European Wax Center, European La Peep, Orange Theory, Peep Restaurant, New South Kitchen and Bar, Haymore, Firestone, Curry Junction. Is that where we're going?
Yeah.
You know where it is, so we know it's right there where they fixed our... By where they fixed our phone battery.
Oh, the battery place?
Uh-huh.
Oh.
Cell phone repair.
Yeah. I'm might get that done before we go to Vegas.
Okay. Well, it says it's open, but there's no parking in front of their.
And probably
There's some hookah